One other question I had for you is I had read that originally this had started off as a picture book. Is that right?
It did.
Evolved into a middle grade book. And what was the process of expanding the story?
Um, okay, so when I first learned about the Merci train, I was it's also called sometimes the gratitude train or the thank you train. I was just, captivated by the story. And I thought, oh, this could be a book. There could be a book in this story. And at the time, I was working on picture books. This, by the way, was almost 20 years ago. So I thought, okay, I'll write a story and about the train. And I had two characters, a French girl and American girl. And I polished it with my critique group to the best of my ability. It was sent out to some editors. There were a number of no's, and there was one editor who said, I think there might be something here, but perhaps instead of a picture book, you could write it as a middle grade novel. And I went, oh, what a brilliant idea. I'll do that someday. I didn't have a clue, but that idea resonated with me. So I tucked it away, and one of my motivations for going to Vermont was to try and get a draft of that novel done when I was in the program. And I was able to accomplish that. And now I can't remember the rest of your question. Like, do you want me to follow up what happened next? I feel like I'm talking on.
Yeah, no. This is great. Yeah. We're seeing absolute evolution. You've gone from one editor says no, and then we're done, to multiple editors say no, but we're going to continue to evolve. And by God, Blue Skies is going to be in the world. This is a story of hope. I like it. So yes, when from the MFA program, then what's the process of publishing?
Then what happened? Okay. All right. So, yes. So I completed what I now know is a solid draft in my MFA program. I, of course, thought it was finished and like, oh, let's send it out, and surely someone would want to publish it. But send it out, I did, to a few agents, and I got no's. So I put it away for basically 7 years, and I worked on something else, which turned into my first novel, Anywhere But Paradise. And then after that was published, I thought, okay, now what am I going to work on? And I puttered around with two other novel-like ideas, and was basically getting nowhere. I was pretty discouraged and thought, okay, well, it's great that I've had one novel published, but I'm not sure I'm going to have two. So I had a serious sit-down talk with myself and said, all right, well, if you could have one more book published or even like written to my satisfaction, what would it be? And as soon as I asked that question, the answer was instant, and that was, oh, it's the Merci train story. That's the one that I have a really deep connection to. That's the one more than any other manuscript that I have in the drawer. or that I'm even thinking about writing, I want to try. So the great thing about a manuscript that's been sitting in a drawer a really long time is when you take it out, you know pretty quickly whether it's a go or not. And I reread it and thought, oh, well, no, it's not ready to be sent out, but I can see that it needs some help, and I can see some things that I could actually do to, I think, make it better. So I was thrilled. And then I jumped in to revise, my critique group again helping, my agent helping, and then it found a fabulous home.
If it's not too personal a question, I never know what is. What types of things were you finding after 7 years that now more advanced, more seasoned author Anne Bustard comes back to earlier Anne's work and says, let me help you out. I see what you were going for. What types of things were you finding to help the book out and evolve it?
Well, I did find that I needed to expand more on some of the storylines. I found that in an opposite way, I needed to consolidate some characters. I had too many that were doing the same thing in the story. And then I just needed to, I'm not really sure how to even say this, take it up a notch in the writing. Make sure that every scene showed as many of the 5 sentences as possible, and that the writing was as tight as possible. So in my case, in that instance, I was pretty happy with the plot per se, but all of the connective tissue needed to be reevaluated. And I had to not be afraid to take things out, rearrange, and put things back together.